I caught a lot of flack for suggesting that front projection is on its way out in 2024. Well, today we are looking at one of the products that may be putting the final nail in front projection's coffin. The Q class represents TCL's best when it comes to truly giant 4K TVs. With 2300 zones of full array local dimming, the 98QM850G's mini LEDs are capable of producing up to 2000 nits of peak brightness, which is not only just insane for such a large display, but also necessary to get the most out of HDR formats like Dolby Vision. Control over the TV's mini LEDs, as well as video processing and upscaling, falls to TCL's 3rd gen AIPQ processor. The display relies on Google TV for its day-to-day operating system, which gives users access to all of the major streaming services, including Apple TV, without, needing to spend more on third-party streamers like an Apple TV 4K or an NVIDIA Shield. While gamers may argue that you shouldn't game on such a large screen, TCL has gone full send by packing their Q class with all of the latest gaming tech. With a native refresh rate of 120 Hz and user-adjustable settings that produce motion rates as high as 480, the TCL is well suited for fast-paced next-gen games. It also has support for ALLM, VRR, and AMD FreeSync Premium Pro. Of course, this means the TCL has support for HDMI 2.1 through 2 of its 4 HDMI inputs. There's also ARC, eARC, allowing for Dolby Atmos soundtracks to be passed onto your home theater receiver or processor. It should be noted, though, that the TCL's ARC, eARC input is not one of the TV's 2.1 capable ports. You can control the TCL using the remote or your voice with services like Alexa, Google Assistant, and Apple HomeKit. Of course, you can also stream or cast content to the TCL with your phone or laptop using Chromecast and AirPlay 2. Oh, and there's also support for Bluetooth 5.2. As soon as you get this TV up and running, I recommend switching to the movie picture profile. The movie profile is pretty accurate even without any adjustments or calibration. Testing it proved that this profile met the standard of calibrated from the factory. The grayscale and white point accuracy was good, with a delta E, or margin of error, of about 3. The color accuracy of the TCL out of the box was Sony level great at 1.8. Keep in mind, a delta E of 3 or less likely isn't going to improve with calibration, at least not to your naked eye. For your investment, TCL has at least taken the worry out of whether or not you're getting an accurate picture. Now, post-calibration, the TCL improved a little, with a grayscale coming in at 2.4 and color at 1.2. You get bang-on, organic-looking picture with rich, natural contrast and gradation right out of the box with the TCL. Now, TCL claims a peak brightness of 2000 nits, and while I don't know exactly what methods were used to get those numbers, I don't believe they're misleading. That said, the TCL's real-world brightness rests closer to about 1300 nits in its movie profile, with its backlighting set between 80 and 100, and the rest of its dynamic brightness and contrast aids set to low. If I maxed everything out, the TV did get brighter, nearing that 2000 nit promise, but the image began to degrade. 2000 nits is just crazy bright, even in our room. So I was very happy with the more manageable and, well, let's face it, accurate 1300 nits from the factory. Regardless, for such a large display, the TCL is bright enough to enjoy standard dynamic range and HDR content with just not a lot of fuss. This is a very easy TV to live with day to day and does not require you to mess with settings too much, which is what one expects when spending this kind of money. When it comes to light uniformity and control, the TCL is good to maybe just above average, but not excellent. When viewing test patterns in full screen using both white and 50% gray patterns, some brightness uniformity issues and vignetting become visible. Now, when you watch real-world content, these issues aren't as noticeable. Nevertheless, if you're the pass-fail type and all you care about are test patterns, the TCL earns a B in this category. For me, the viewing angle is where the TCL really comes up short. This is one of, if not the worst, TVs for off-axis viewing. Grayscale and color accuracy, they go right out the window when not viewing content straight on, and a green and purple cast and noticeable amount of posterization and false color become visible. In our experience, every seat on a 4 to 5 seater sofa facing the TCL straight on will enjoy the same good picture quality. However, if you find yourself sitting off to the side on a sectional or maybe on a separate lounge chair, expect the quality to be less than stellar. As for blooming, the TCL is respectable, but doesn't quite rise to the standard set by the Hisense 85UX, or dare I say, an OLED. Definitely on par or just behind the improved performance of our reference Sony X95L, but not quite pixel perfect. Blooming is less of a factor when viewing everyday content. For example, the film The Creator has loads of low-light scenes complete with subtitles, and when watching that film, the TCL did really good. If you watched our Hisense 85UX review, you know that motion and poor processing, specifically scaling SD or HD content up to 4K, were among the reasons that kept the Hisense from earning our recommendation. Thankfully, the TCL is much, and I mean much, better. Motion in movies, gaming, and sports broadcasts as near as makes no difference, perfect to the naked eye. Watching the Texas Longhorns run at the Big 12 Championship was smooth and judder-free. In fact, the TCL is one of the more enjoyable TVs we've had this year for watching sports. As for processing, the TCL does an admirable job scaling SD and HD content to 4K, but it's just not in the same league as Sony. SD broadcasts, specifically 720p, don't quite rise to the fidelity of the display's native 4K capability. 1080p content looked really good scaled to 4K, with native 4K content obviously being the best. I will say you do get used to the softer image of 720p on such a large display, but I can't say that this TV is really worth investing in if you know that the majority of your viewing will be done at this resolution or lower. I game on every TV we review in order to verify its gaming specs, but sometimes I wonder if my personal limitations as a gamer ever cause me to miss something a real gamer wouldn't.
Good thing you're related to one.
Real gamers know that big TVs usually mean input lag, inconsistent refresh rates, motion blur, floaty controls, or sacrificing some features to enable others. This is why most of us prefer to game on a monitor. I know I do. This is the first big screen TV I've gamed on that didn't experience a single one of those stereotypical issues. The aiming felt snappy while scaling well, which meant I didn't have to adjust my in-game sensitivities. Thank God. The 120Hz refresh rate made the motion blur smoother than Amish butter, and I had all the extra features activated to achieve true next-gen gaming nirvana. The TCL is the first big TV I'm actually going to miss gaming on, and I truly think that TCL hit the gaming metrics out of the park.
When it comes to comparisons, the only apples-to-apples TV we've had in-house is the more affordable 98-inch TV from TCL, the XLR754. Retailing for $2,000 less, the XL is as accurate picture-wise out of the box, but it's not as bright as the Q, nor is its backlighting as controlled. The Q's improvements in brightness and control result in an image that is just more clear and refined in terms of contrast and just perceivable clarity. Now, both are great TVs, and you can save quite a bit if you go with the older XL, but the newer Q class is definitely the best big screen TV TCL has to offer. Quick note, TCL does offer an even more affordable 98-inch display in their S class, but we have not seen it nor tested it, so I can't vouch for its performance, good or bad. Now, Sony recently released the X90L, a 98-inch TV that retails for just under $8,000. The Sony is not a mini LED display, so TCL should win the backlighting brightness race. But the X90L has Sony's cognitive processing, and I've yet to review a TV from any brand that does a better job processing and upscaling. Now, hopefully we get the opportunity to answer the ultimate which one is best question for you in the new year. Suffice to say, 2024 and beyond is going to be really exciting for big screen enthusiasts. Hisense offers a 100-inch version of their popular U8 display for about the same cost as the TCL, though if its motion and processing are just anything like the 85UX we just reviewed, and according to Caleb over at Digital Trends, it might be, then I would skip it and go with the TCL. But again, I have not seen the Hisense, so this is just me speculating. While TCL's flagship 98-inch TV may not rise to the level of overall excellence as our reference Sony X95L mini LED TV, I'm going to keep it real with you and say I still prefer watching the TCL. While die-hard projection enthusiasts believe a lot of things, there's one thing that they're right about. Bigger is better. Another thing I'll give diehards, you're right. The TCL is not the same as watching a 120-inch reference-grade projection system. It's not. It's better. Yeah. That's the hill I'm willing to die on. As far as truly big screen TVs go, at least for right now, the TCL sits at the top. So that's enough out of me and what I think of TCL's latest flagship 98-inch TV, but now the world wants to know, since you're the queen of big screen TVs, what do you think?
I mean, well, I love it, but I'm wondering if the projection enthusiasts did they survive that review? Oh, seriously, I really like this TV. You know, I love a bigger TV. I get why projection people love their big screen. Totally get it. But I think even if we had a dedicated theater, I would put something up like this.
The fact of the matter is that more and more people don't have the space to go dedicated. And all of these projection ads, ultra short throw ads especially, are selling a myth. The images you're seeing in these stills aren't real. These are not actual projected images. You are looking at Photoshop.
I do like how a screen looks on the wall. You know, the times where we have had projectors in here. I do like how thin and, you know, minimal it looks.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will say one of the cons with a big TV is that you've just got this big black box, you know, screen on your wall all the time. Well, I don't really see projection screen to be that much different. You still have a screen on your wall if it's a fixed screen.
Correct. It's just white. It's a white or gray.
Whiter, most of your, well, you're going to do gray.
If you want the ambient light rejecting.
Yeah. So it's not like there's not some big thing on your wall. And if you have a 120-inch or whatever, it's even bigger.
Yeah.
And maybe more of a, quote, monstrosity, as I've heard other people talk about big TVs. But the thing with the TV, I think it's a lot easier to project art on it.
To show art on it.
To show art.
Yeah, you can turn it into.
So that you can make it like a screensaver or something. So as far as this TV goes, again, I really like it. I do think that there are improvements with this Q class television over the previous XL.
Yes.
The only thing I don't quite remember was the XL's off-axis viewing as egregious as this one?
It absolutely was, and I had to go back to my footage to verify that, but it's worse.
It's worse?
It's worse, yes. The XL was a little bit worse because the light uniformity of the XL was slightly worse than this TV. It's unfortunate, but it's also something that you're really going to find with any LCD, LED backlit display. That's just kind of like some obviously are better than others. Let's not mince words, but it is just that is one of the things that you are going to face with this type of technology. It's not exclusive to the TCL, but I would argue that because it's 98 inches, everything is just jumbo sized.
Okay, well, let's resuscitate the dead horse. Do you think that this will be the one area where projection fans will say, see?
Absolutely not, because if you're using an ambient light rejecting screen for your projector, which most people are advocating you do now, whether you use a UST or just a regular projector, the viewing angles on those types of screens are so limiting that they're worse than this TV. And if you don't have them set up just right, in fact, some people actually mistakenly install their ambient light rejecting screens upside down and think that they're seeing what they're supposed to be seeing. And if you do that, I got news for you. You've probably cut the brightness of your projector in half just by the fact if your screen is accidentally installed upside down. Now, obviously, if you have a motorized drop-down screen, really kind of hard to get that one wrong. But a fixed screen, you would be amazed at how many setups I've seen where I've been like, flip it. Your screen's upside down. And when they do, they go, what?
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
That would be something I would do.
So the thing that people don't understand about ambient light rejecting screens is if you read the marketing, they'll tell you or they'll make it seem like the screen is just punching away all of the light. You know what I mean? Like it's just rejecting it. When in reality, It's actually a screen material that is more directive in terms of how it redirects the light than a white unity gain screen. An ambient light rejecting screen to reject the overhead light actually uses a sawtooth textured screen, which is why UST projectors, you need one of those because the light shining up hits the sawtooths and then comes back straight. So if you use a UST screen with a non-UST projector, that light's going to come in from above and go right back straight up, and it's going to wash your image out. So there's a lot more to projectors and screen selection than people realize. And a lot of times they'll either buy based on price or they'll buy based on, well, everyone says you have to have this screen. Well, you have to have this screen if you have these 3 projectors. Do you have one of these 3 projectors? No, then you shouldn't buy this screen. And it gets a lot more complicated than people think.
4K Sports looks amazing.
Yeah.
1080p, I think, looked, like you said,
Yeah.
really pretty good.
Yeah.
But man, if you are have the unfortunate chance to watch anything on ABC
Yeah.
Sports, it's really not that great. But I honestly blame ABC's signal.
It's 100% the signal. It's not the TV's fault. I mean, ABC Sports does look better through the Sony, but garbage in, garbage out. Yeah, if it's like, well, that's all I watch is broadcast, and we don't have that in our area yet, you know, the higher 1080p or the 4K option for our cable or streaming package, I would probably hold off on this TV. I probably would. I would hold off until that hits your area.
Okay. Yeah. But I think if you're watching 4K Sports, if you have that
If
option.
you have that option, or even 1080p, you know,
Yeah,
it's a true
it's gonna look
1080p, it's going to work out great.
I do have one last question.
Oh, okay.
But it's actually for Josh.
Oh, well, let's get him in here.
Okay.
Tell me what you got.
Okay. So I thought it was really great that you brought your input as a real gamer.
Real gamer.
Yeah, real gamer. Do you think that a TV like this is finally going to put the myth that you can't game on a big TV to rest?
The big caveat to that answer is what type of games you play. If you play first-person shooters at a competitive level where you're trying to win and just outperform everybody, I'd still probably lean towards a smaller monitor. The reason being is the screen translates well to like the inputs and how it feels, but it's so big that usually with smaller screens, your peripherals are more locked in to the entire screen. So you're not having to fish and search for maybe a flanking enemy or a teammate that needs help. So it keeps it all kind of front and center for you. Where I did notice on the 100-inch TCL, it did get sometimes a little wonky picking up peripherals where I had to physically look off of my center point to see what was going on, which then, when time to kill is a huge thing in competitive games, you need to be always having some focus on your crosshairs. And so losing some of that peripheral with the bigger screen for a true competitive player might be not a tough pill to swallow, but might make it a little tougher or make them want to be like, I think I'm going to go back to my 27-inch. If you're playing anything other than competitive games, I think this thing knocks it out of the park, and you would not notice a single issue with playing games on the TCL 100 outside of that truly uber competitive first-person shooter.
Love that answer. That was such a good explanation. It really made things a lot clearer for me. One last question. What was your favorite part about gaming on a screen this big?
Honestly, the true immersiveness, the blacks being so deep and rich that playing a game like Alan Wake felt like I was there, and it added that like spine-tingling thrill when you're just got you and your flashlight and everything else is dark and it's up to you to illuminate things. It just made me feel like I was there. It made me feel like I was Alan Wake. And so the true scale of everything does just suck you into the game. So that was probably the most noticeable and enjoyable thing for me, was just going from, a tiny little 1440p monitor to being like, oh my God, like this feels like a true immersive experience where the monitor just feels like I'm immersed in the competitive nature of the game, not within the actual environment of the game.
Really appreciate that you came down.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for having me. I would love to give input, and it was a blast to do this with you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you guys think? What did you guys, okay, I already know the projection fans have already told me everything that they think. So now that they've gotten that out of their system, what do you TV fanatics think of the new TCL? I want to know. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. If you use any of the links that Kristi's left for you down below, know that that's a great way that you have continued to show your support for this channel and the work that both of us do here, and we thank you all very much for doing that. Speaking of thanks to Joystick Gamer, aka Josh Robinson, my brother, for coming down and helping us test this TV not once, but twice. Please do check out his channel. We'll link to it down below, or you can hit subscribe at the end of this video. But if you like that kind of gaming content from a real gamer, you're going to want to go over there because I will never be able to compete. Follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile, and that is it for us today. So remember, the only person who has to like anything is you. So happy listening, happy watching. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys on the next video, which is our end of the year award show. See you Sunday, guys.